Hey guys, I had a meeting this afternoon with my publisher, which was very interesting because we were discussing a study that recently came out that said that South African households spend 5 times more money on sweets and chocolate than they do on books. And the first thing about research is you want to find out sample sizes and you want to verify the studies and whatever the case is. So that's what I did. And yeah, it's basically true. South African households spend 5 times more money on chocolates and sweets than they do on books. Now, obviously, you'd probably be expecting that, they're spending money on essentials or something. But yeah, it's sweets and chocolates. And I had this conversation with my publisher, and it was quite a tough conversation to say, can we look at success factors to say if people are reading, do they actually increase their chances of success? And this has been done over and over again. If you read, we even have sayings like readers are leaders just for this reason, to just explain the fact that if you read, you can achieve so much more. But that wasn't really the conversation. I think for me, the conversation with her was, how do we get the nation reading? How do we get people to start reading? Because I think everybody knows that reading is important. We've had these conversations, it's all over the internet, everybody understands it, but how do we get people reading? And we had this conversation about the fact that reading needs to be a culture. Let me explain. In any household, right, there's different cultures that are followed. So for example, if in your household, in the evening, you're a parent, you come back home, and the first thing you do is you plan your programs. Okay, 6 o'clock I'm watching this, 6:30 I'm watching that, until 9:30 you're watching television, right? That's a culture. You're instilling a culture to consume content. Even if you're not doing it aware, even if you tell your kids to go and, you tell your kids, okay, go do your homework, whatever the case is, that culture is instilled. And the culture will be instilled and be instilled for the longest of time. In your children, in yourself, and even those that come into your household. And that's where Bridget and I decided that for us to fix the reading issue, it needs to start in a culture. If we look at European countries, they have this culture of before you put your kid to bed, you read a story to them, you read to them. And obviously the kids then ask, okay, mom, I would rather just, watch a movie. Why do you want to read me a bedtime story? And the parent would say, no, reading is important. I want you to learn how to read, And after that, when the parent stops reading these bedtime stories, the kid would then learn to start reading every time before they go to bed. And that will be their culture. They'll start doing that. And these are some of the things that we need to start instilling from a young age to say, reading is a culture. Reading is important. Because the truth is, I've often engaged people. I'm an author. I always speak about reading. But a lot of people have this attitude of it's too late. I don't read. I don't want to read. Okay, that's okay. But within the next generation that's coming up, can we start instilling a culture of reading in young children from a young age? When you buy them a toy, buy them a book as well. When you buy them a chocolate, buy them a book as well. Get them to start reading. Tell them interesting stories about people who have read and became very successful. When I spoke to Bridget, it was so interesting. We were speaking about I just want to move away because the sun's just, we were speaking about other people. Okay, how does it work when the children of very successful people, what do they do? What are some of their bedtime rituals, etc.? And we found that these are kids that read. These are kids that spend more time reading than they do on their cell phone. And you find that these cultures are not emphasized enough. And people don't know this. There was a study done a long time ago where they went into a street where people do not read, basically an area. And for a year, they started delivering books to half of that street, and the other street, they didn't deliver any books. So they deliver stuff of books, important books, technological books. Every single week, they deliver books. And after a year coming back and looking at the two streets, they found that on the street where they actually delivered books, there were less drug abuse, less teenage pregnancies, people were more successful, people's lives were more improved, and people were just general better citizens, more promotions, too many success factors. And on the street where they didn't deliver books, they found the exact opposite. Teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, people were very unhappy, stagnant in their lives, etc. So gone are the days of us having to prove that reading is important and it's something that one should do. Like that's a conversation that has been had, and we've had it for the longest of time. The conversation we should be having is, how do we instill a culture of reading within the young generation, and how do we do it properly? Because we must be honest. If in a country where the expenditure in a household, the average household, is 5 times the budget of reading, for sweets and chocolates, we have a bit of a problem. And if it's not addressed, we're going to have, children growing up, learning to be consumers of content on television or whatever the case is, and learning to be consumers of goods and services, and never reading, never learning anything from a book. And it all starts with the way that they were raised, because sometimes it's too late. I've had people that I've spoken to and I said, listen, you should start reading. And they said to me, yes, this is too late for me. I'm now too old. I'd like, reading is a real drag for me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's it then. So the way to start building a culture of reading, start instilling it on young people. So if you're an older brother, older cousin, parent, whatever, someone who's looked up to, start instilling a habit of reading amongst those that look up to you, those that are young. When you ask them questions, when we were growing up, our parents would always ask questions. What did you get for mathematics? What did you get for science? What did you get for these subjects? And we'd tell them, and in somewhat it instilled a habit of like, oh, these are important subjects, because nobody would ask, what did you get for art or life orientation? So while growing up, everybody got instilled the fact that, okay, these are important subjects, because every time parents see you, they always ask you about this. But nobody really asked, what book are you reading? What books have you read? What books have had the most impactful stance on your life? Who are some of your favorite authors? Nobody really asked that. And I think to sort of expect people to be readers when the whole culture of growing up was never reading inclusive might be tricky. So let's start instilling that culture. Start asking your nieces and nephews, what are you reading outside of what you're reading at school? What's your favorite book? Why is it your favorite book? And through this, we'll begin to instill a proper culture where people actually start reading and start learning. So I thought I should just come and share this with you guys. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. I'm out. Cheers.